everybody. Welcome to another Saturday night here with me, Peter Driver, in Biscarry Fly. We're here in Kilkenny, Ireland, and another week slips by in the ever unexciting world of COVID-19. Hope everyone's keeping well. Hope everyone had a great week. How you doing, Jason Corcoran? Jano's on there. Christoph, Patrick Burke is on there. Hope everyone's well. Kieran Sherlock, how you doing? Drop by and say hello tonight, folks. If you're about and online, we got a couple of hours of some absolutely cracking lock style patterns to try for you tonight. Aidan Gill, Jerry Morgan, how you doing? Jean-Luc is on there. Billy Boland, no crack. Where would you get crack these days, Billy? No, we're crackless. We're gone from being great crack to no crack here in Ireland. But sure, look at anyway. We'll try and have a bit of crack here tonight, lads. Hi, Patrick Smith. Hi, Michael McLean. Trevor Nolan in there. Good evening to yourself too. So we're going to do a lock style tonight, kind of lock style based. Liam Long, Robbie Berry, Graham Walsh. Hi, everybody. Hope everyone had a great week. We're going to do some lock style flies tonight. We've been concentrating a lot on river stuff. Hi, Dave Egan. Daniel Quinn from Eastern Canada. Good to have you on, Dan. Hi, Desmond. How you doing? Bernard, Darius. Hope you're all keeping well. Martin Fennis is there. We're going to do some lock style. Hi, Joe is on there as well. We're going to do some lock style tonight. We've been concentrating a lot on rivers there for the last couple of weeks, and said we'll switch over and we'll do some nice lock style. So I've chosen 5 nice patterns. We're going to do 5 tonight. 5 nice patterns. I know Jason Foran was on there looking for a shuttlecock kind of dry buzz or something for the next style. So we're going to do one of those later on. We're going to start with a lock fly that, hi Gary McKiernan, Colin Hackett there, how you doing? Alessandro, hello my friend from Italy, hope you're keeping well over there in Italy. We're going to do a fly that will always stick out in my memory as a well and trusted pattern. It was a fly that, luckily enough, won me in All-Ireland in the Corrib in 2012, I think it was. It's one that'll always stick in the mind. So a bit of a story behind it too, and I'll gladly share it with you and the pattern. And after that, we got some dabblers. We got another pattern actually. So there was 2 flies on my cast that day that really did. Hi, Dave Donovan. Dave will probably have a trivia question for us later on, I think, Dave. Neville Howard says 3 more lockdowns till Christmas. Neville, yeah, probably so. Hi, Graham Larnigan. Graham wants a handy question for Graham tonight, so Dave has a trivia question there lined up for his lads later on. We got a nice spot prize for you. And as usual, tomorrow, any flies that are tied tonight or tied previously to the show, we will be giving away tomorrow. So we're going to get started on this fly. Graham Connolly's in the middle of the North Seas again. Good man, Graham. Fair play to you for tuning in from the middle of the North Seas. So anyway, the story behind this championships, and you know, as most, well, an awful lot of leg anglers, or I certainly would say anyway, that, you know, when it comes to, you know, lock style competition fishing, there is yes, absolutely is there skill, of course there is, you know, but you've got to get so many factors right, especially in All-Ireland championships. And anyone will tell you that's won in All-Ireland, you know, or to have fished All-Irelands, it takes an awful lot of factors to come together to win a major championships in one day like that. Hi, Colin Healy. So, you know, in the 2012 All-Ireland, it was held on Loch Corrib. It was fished out of where was it fished out? Uachtarard. And Leinster fielded a good team that year. We were lucky enough. We won the team event. I think Shane Callan, you had the biggest trout that day as well. I'm not sure if you're on there, Shane, but if you are, what size was that trout you had that day? It was a fine fish. I was lucky enough to get the individual. But say, you know, you need awful lot of factors to go together. You know, you need to choose the right location. You need a good boatman. You need someone that you're drawing in the boat with that'll work with you, or maybe work against you and ride you on a bit to fish that a little bit harder. But on that particular day, I'll never forget arriving at the pier and picking, and the boatman coming up and you know, I say, where's your boat? He says, over there. And I was going to say, well, what do you think? You know, what am I drinking today? Look, feck Joy January, lads. I'm having a glass of wine tonight. It's been a long week and we're in for a hell of a long month. So I said, you know what? Joy January can wait for a couple of months, maybe even a year. But so the boatman turned around with one of the greatest statements I ever heard. He says, Desmond Paul wants me just to thank everyone for supporting his cancer research fundraiser, which raised a total of £1,400. Fantastic. Well done to everyone involved. Absolutely fantastic job, lads. Well done, well done. But anyway, the boatman turned around to me, one of the greatest lines I ever heard. He said, I said to him, do you know where there's a few trout moving? He says, boy, he says, if you have the flies, he says, I'll bring you to the trout if you have the flies to catch them. So I said, well, I think I do. So he did, in all fairness to him, a great boatman. I know that plays an awful lot of factors into your lock style, especially when you go to those one-day competitions, that, if you get a good boatman, he's willing to drive that boat for you, put you over the trout. Well, then it's up to you to catch him, and then you need the patterns and stuff like that. And it was a wild, windy day that day in Corrib, It was a wild, windy day in Corrib, and tough. It had been a tough, we practiced there for 3 or 4 days prior to that, and we didn't have a fish between three of us, myself, Dad, and what was that other gentleman's name? Eugene Fagan, if you're on there, refresh my memory. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot that man's name. I'll think of him now in a minute. But the three of us fished Corrib for 3 days beforehand, practicing out of Ballindiff. We didn't land a single fish for the 3 days. We thought, what a waste of time. And at that time, we had just buried a very close friend of ours into the family, and he drowned on a river, and it wasn't a great time for myself or Dad, and we were kind of saying, geez, we shouldn't have came here at all. The funeral was only on the day before, and we kind of decided at the time, look, will we go or won't we go? And then we said, look, we'll go because it'll get us out of here and take our minds off things and whatever. And we're kind of regretting going, in a certain way. Like I said, look, Dad, we're here now. Let's just let's just go fish the competition for what it is, and if we get lucky, we get lucky. And this was the fly. This fly, it's a leggy green Peter. Nothing too mad about the pattern. Totally exceptional, or out of this world. But it was a very productive little fly that day. Took 3 of the 4 fish I caught. Brought up several other fish to it. The other fly, fiery brown dabbler, I'm going to tie that next, which is the 2 flies in the cast. But this leggy green Peter's a fly that I've tied 10,000 times since, and never afraid to share the pattern. So I've got a size 10 Kamazan B175 here in the device, and I got some of my Kevlar on there, and I just put a bit of wax. You can see a little bit of layer of wax on it. I don't often wax that Kevlar, but I'm using a particular dubbin called Gleamy Dubbin. Okay, if any of you have ever crossed it, this is Gleamy Dubbin. Very similar in character as Seals Fur. Very awkward to dub on in very small, for little tight button, stuff like that. So a little bit of wax helps there. It's made by Hens, really good. It has a little sheen to it, and that's why I like it. And I'm going to be using that in another fly later on as well. Gleamy Dubbin is called, really good. But if you don't have Gleamy Dubbin, maybe some fluorescent red, Seals Fur, or even red Seals Fur will do you fine. I know there's plenty of variations of this fly out there, the green Peter. What a fly! Works all over the world. I can even remember fishing the Slaney with green Peters back in the days when I used to be up around the East Coast. And great fly. So we're just going to dub on a small bit of it there and yeah. But anyway, we hadn't got any fish for the 3 days prior to it. We're thinking, oh geez, lads, this is going to be a fucking waste of time. We were, as usual, buzzing around looking for some information, trying to pick people's brains and stuff, as you do in the morning of the competition. Didn't get a whole lot anyway. But we set sail anyway. Myself, a Cork man, I can't remember that chap's name, and the boatman set sail, wild windy day, and he said, we're going for a drive now, lads, and it's going to get rough. And it was nice and rough. I was up at the top of the boat, and by geez, my backside was sore after that drive across. But we arrived at the destination, and it wasn't long before we started meeting fish. Big waves. I had the green Peter up on the point. I think it was a leggy octopus on the top dropper. Didn't catch any fish. And I had the fiery brown in the middle. And the fiery brown and the green Peter did the damage on the day. I had 4 trout and 4 qualifying fish to net. And that was enough to win. I know on the day, lots of lads met lots of fish. And everyone has their own stories. Sure, I met 15 and lost this and that. But look, I was lucky enough to have a good boatman. Lucky enough those fish stuck for me. And then, there's a good bit of luck involved in it. But that was it. But as regards the fly itself, so we had got nothing in the 3 days prior to it. And it was tough. I think I brought up 1 or 2 fish to a floating dry daddy, foam daddy, and but nothing had like we nothing, and we fished and fished and fished for 3 days. So we were sitting in Ballindiff Bay Lodge there, where Mike used to have the bar and a bit of accommodation. That's where we used to stay as well prior to competitions. We there with Joe Trill and good friend of the family and stuff. And we're there, we're having a couple of pints, talking tactics the night before the championships and blah, blah, what the hell are we going to do tomorrow and stuff like that. And, we were talking about, look, Green Peters have to work daddy's, legs and stuff like that. So we asked Mike, hey, Mike, would it be all right if we went out and, very good, James. Yeah, James, yeah, good man. Graham Lanigan, great question. Would Peter normally be fished on top dropper? It's your own preference, really. It is a great top dropper fly. On that day, I had it on the point because of the big waves. I had two massive flies. I had a big size 10, fiery brown on the dropper, and I had a very big size 10 leggy octopus up on top. So I just decided that's where I was going to go that day, and it worked, But we asked Mike, would it be okay if I went out and got a bit of tying gear and tied a few flies? We decided, we'll tie a couple of flies now, and then we'll be grand. We'll go to bed and whatever, and we tie a few Green Peters. So we tied this leggy Green Peter in the bar in Mike's, very bad light, and that was the fly that went out. And so you got lucky and got the 4 fish on it. So what I've tied on there on the body is a bit of medium olive seals fur, and I'm going to tie in some medium olive saddle cape. Okay. No, I'll see that there now. Hi, Dylan. Hope you're keeping well. Hey, Dennis Golan. Dennis Golan's on there with us as well. Dennis will be a very well accomplished loch style angler. If anybody has any questions, guys or girls, please shoot them across. If anybody has any contributions, love to hear them. It's Saturday night, and we're going to have a bit of crack tonight. Tie a few nice flies. So I've fine oval gold there acting as the rib. And it's going to rib that fly up well. And as you can see, on that day, plenty of legs on that. It was a fine big Peter, Green Peter tie that day. So don't be afraid to be generous on the hackles. Kieran Sherlock there, and he said he normally fishes leggy Green Peter top dropper and normal Peter in the middle. But I said, yeah, and you know what? On most days, Kieran, I would be the very same. A leggy Green Peter, a big size 10 leggy Green Peter would go on the top dropper for me. Great question, Robbie. And I tell you, I actually couldn't give you the correct answer. I think on some days, sorry, I'll go back to Kieran Sherlock. Yeah, so on that day, because the waves were so big, I just put on street, I had this Green Peter from the night before, put it on because it was, hi Declan Smith. Robbie's asked a question there, guys. So fluorocarbon or monofilament for loch style? Great question, Rob. I'll be interested to get everyone's feedback on that one. Hi, Laurent. Laurent's on there from France. Hope you're keeping well, Laurent. We're going to do some Irish loch styles tonight. Is there something you use a lot in France, Lauren? So for the wing, we're going to put on 2 little snippets of paired hen pheasant. Dennis Golan says he fishes a slim one on the tail all the time. But saying this day, the waves were so bloody big, it was so rough. Alan Lawless is on there from Newbridge. How you doing, Alan? Hope you're keeping well. The waves were so big that day, I literally stuck up the 3 biggest flies I had, and I didn't take them off for the entire day. It was one of those days where just everything went right for me. Even though, hi Brian Canty, even Terry Phillips Terry Phillips in England International there, watching us there from the UK. He wants to know if I'm not tying up some blobs for loch style. No, Terry, no, Jesus, I could get in trouble if I said loch style and not tying up blobs. It was a big wave that day, but it was one of those days where everything went well. I was up on top of the boat, got comfortable early in the day, and hi Eddie Butler, got comfortable early in the day, just start rolling out a few casts, wasn't throwing them long, floating the line, just basically dabbling back along the tips of the waves, and the trout were coming out of the waves from. That was basically it. So I was putting up flies to make as much noise as possible. All right, there's Dylan Roberts on and said he looks like a variant of an old Welsh pattern called a concoction. Let's look that one up. So a bit of paired hen pheasant on top there, and you can all see the way I pinched tie it around. And when you're tying it around a wing like that, don't go around and then pull straight down, because you'll flip that wing to the side. So go around and go completely around 365 degrees and then pull straight up. Okay, and then that'll keep that wing lovely positioned up there on top, and looks pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with that bit of luck. You could often sit there and tie 5 or 6 of them and never get them looking that decent. I'm going to put 4 legs on either side of this one. So I got some pre-knotted pheasant tail there by Vineyards. Okay, I know some lads like to knot them themselves. I'm certainly not one of those people. So I used the pre-knotted ones. Holding the wing at the same time, one turning that side. And I'm going to stick another 4 on the other side. So there's lots of, hi Stuart Edwards, there's lots of Daltys on there from Donegal. Good to have you on there, Dalty O'Donnell. I think I tied a couple of these for you, Dalty, there last week. But there's lots of good answers coming on there for Robbie. I hope, Robbie, you're dissecting that and you can give us all a rundown on what's the general consensus. So I just tied in a couple of pheasant tail legs. You can see out of the back of that. James Colbert, any recommendations for early season on the Corrib? Geez, James, I remember, and I was actually thinking of a couple of flies there for early season lockstyle. We might do them before we get to February. And I can remember being on there a couple of years ago. I used to go to the Corrib I used to do a lot of lockstyle, really. When I was living in Wicklow, I was probably doing more lockstyle than it was rivers at the time. Hi, Ross Enright. Eugene Fagan is on there. Hi, Eugene. This is a fly, Eugene. Eugene Fagan actually got the original list. I remember coming off the lake that day, and Eugene, one of the Leinster teammates, was there on the bank of the lake. And he said, how'd you get on, P? And I said, I did 4. And he said, good man, fair play to you. What'd you get him on? And I took the fly off the cast and I stuck it on Eugene Fagan's jumper. That's where the fly went. But now, as regards so back to the early season Corrib. But you know what? If I was going to the Corrib nowadays, early season, I'd be looking at minky streamers, that kind of stuff. Brilliant. That's good. Dennis is on there and he said, old wing. You need old wing. Hi, Anthony Toft. Great to see you on there. Old wing for the concoction. I must look up that fly. I've never actually come across that one now, Dylan. But thanks for sharing it. Thanks, Robbie Berry. Hope you're keeping well. Did you finish off that bottle of Macmullen? So for the hackle of this one now, the real hackle that we actually had that night, Martin McQuaid. Good man, Eugene. Fair play to you. Martin McQuaid is on there. Myself and Martin tied this that night in Mix Bar, Eugene, using some of Martin's materials, my materials, and this was the fly we tied that night. And we had the hackle. The hackle was from Martin McQuaid. Absolutely. It was a beautiful reddish brown, really rich hackle. He never did give me any more of it after that. But fantastic hackle it was. But it was a real reddish kind of brown, and you can see that that's kind of a 4B whitening cape. And what I'm using is up around here is a bit softer, and it's a very reddish kind of brown, as you can kind of see there. And that's about as close as I can get myself. And I'm always on the lookout for that cape, Eugene, that Martin McQuaid had. And I still ask him about it every now and again when I talk to him, not too often. And he keeps saying, maybe when I see you again someday. But Martin, in all fairness to Martin, we worked hard that week, me and Martin and Dad. And he definitely deserves a bit of credit for the look that day. We tied them flies together that night in the pub. So just strip back a bit that lovely reddish brown soft hackle. And I'm going to tie that in there at the front. Pickard game would be nice, I'd say. Yeah. Joe McConnell's on there. What would you use French partridge for? Mayfly, Joe. Lots of mayflies. We use an awful lot of French partridge and mayfly. So I'm just going to catch that now and just hackle it on there. And this would be lovely with a mudderhead as well. I know I tied a few of them today. I think I tied you 2 of those today, actually. The mudderhead Peter. Lovely with a bit of a mudderhead on it as well. But again, we're going to give that a nice coating of that. Tie it in, bring a thread up to the front. And snip away that little bit of waste. So I hope everyone's keeping well. Everyone had a good week. So there's not much really crack going around, lads, is there? But I hope everyone had a good week. Now I'm going to use a little bit of marker just to colour that. There is, Kieran, yeah, it's yeah, and probably the picture doesn't do it quite as justice of how reddish brown that is. But it's fantastic colour. Yeah, it's lovely. And it's a lovely, soft, big cloak and kind of hackle. So, that, there's for a size 10 that you're looking to use in a wave, it has plenty of colour in it, lots of colour in it. So I just give that a little bit of brown. Dennis Gould's on there giving some great information on early Corrib flies. Thanks, Dennis, for that. Appreciate it. I say we have a good lineup for you tonight. Something different. We're going to do a dabbler in a little while with a little bit of a twist on it. You're going to really enjoy that one, so make sure you stay tuned for that one, especially for those guys that fish the Midland Lakes. And I'm sure it would be a great fly early season on Corrib. I don't see too many of them being tied on social media, so I'm not sure how many people are actually tying them, but I'm going to do a really interesting... How you doing, Harry? Good to have you on there. Yeah, absolutely, Harry. It's well worth a go. It's a fly, I even fished this during the Olives. I know Hubert Smitten and a few other lads fish this during the Olives on the Midland Lakes, and we get good trout on it. I've fished this on Lough early season in April, and it's a fantastic. It's one of those flies that's like the Bibio. It's like an octopus, even though it's there. The Bibio or the octopus is there for Daphne and stuff like that. It doesn't mean it won't work in March, April, or May. Like so. Robbie Phelan's asking there, yeah, Dave's going to have his trivia question on there in a little while. Hi, Lucas. How you doing? Hope everyone's keeping well. If anybody hasn't hit the share button, hit the old share button on the feed, and let's see if we can get a crowd on here tonight and have a bit of crack and a bit of banter. If anyone's got any interesting stories to share or a bit of banter, by all means do. Pour yourselves a cold one. To hell with dry January this year. I think we're allowed this year off. So pour yourselves a cold one, and we're going to be here for the next couple of hours, trying a few lock style flies. So there we go. I'm going to move that camera just a little bit to get that fly a little bit more centered. If I can figure it out. Everyone works backwards here because of the way the camera. There we go. That's the leggy green Peter, as close as I can get it without the exact original. Hi, John Keller. Without the exact original hackle, but as close as I can get it. That little bit of gleamy dubbing at the back. It had an olive. I see quite a generous olive body hackle, and Martin McQuaid has that original cape. If any of you know Martin Eugene, you might pick him up on a few hackles sometime, but I'm sure he still has a bit of it. It was a healthy cape at the time when I saw it. But a great lock style fly, can be fished anywhere. On the day it was on the top dropper for me because I was in a divil of a wave, pulling like mad. You literally couldn't pull fast enough because the boat was traveling so fast. But we did well. We had a great day in the boat. We got very wet. We got very tired. Leinster had a great win. Come on, Leinster. And it's not too often Leinster get to say that. We cleaned the boards that day. Shane Callan had the biggest trout. Joe, that is the voice I use is a J voice from South Africa. It's hard to see the full picture of J voice, but if I move the cameras, you won't really get I'll struggle to get it back, but I can take a picture of it and send it. Thanks, Declan Piggott. Okay, right. So there's Dennis on there. So the Peter is a great louse imitation. Good to know. Thanks a million. Eugene Fagan, better chance of winning the lottery. Good man, Eugene. Yeah, I asked him a few times for the hackle, but anyway, he gave me one hackle that night, and I tried 2 or 3 of those. He had a couple. Unfortunately, he didn't get the look. It's not just about the right fly, lads. It's about the right fly in the right place when it comes to lock style. And the boatman that day said to me, he said, "If you have the flies, I'll put you over the trout." And that was the one that did it on that day. So there's a fly going into the little tub there. Anybody that gets the correction, the right answer for tomorrow, we will ask. Yes, Brendan Doolan, I do actually. I can talk about that there now in a second. Brendan wants to know about dying hackles. But anybody that I will ask some random question tomorrow morning or some stage tomorrow, in relation to tonight's show, and whoever gets the first answer right will win all the flies we tied tonight and a couple that I tied earlier on. So make sure you watch out for that tomorrow. We will put this live stream up on YouTube tomorrow for anybody that missed it tonight or wants to go back on and watch it again. we will put up this on YouTube tomorrow. So next thing I'm going to do is take out another size 10. The second fly that really sticks out in mind from that day was a fiery brown dabbler. And I'm going to tie that one as well. What a beautiful fly. And I can remember, this is good early season fly now. I'm not sure how many people have had experience of early season on the Corrib, but a good few years, probably a couple of years prior to 2004-12 when the All-Ireland was on, I went to Corrib and again went over to Joe out of Ballindiff, and you know, had 5 or 6 nice fish. Myself, Pat Cullen, Dad, I think Brendan Driver would have been there with us, maybe a couple of other drivers. Oh, gang was went over, and we stayed over there in Mike's Lodge in Ballindiff Bay, and we went out fishing. I had 5 or 6 on the first day of the season, fishing fiery brown dabbler. So, you know, it is a fly definitely I wouldn't be going to the Corrib without, because of having experience of it catching a few trout for me that time. So, one to having the box perhaps. Let me just make a bit of room here now to get out some more of this stuff. That's the one thing about tying lake flies. If I was tying nymphs now tonight, there'd be only a small bit of material in front of me and I'd be able to rattle through them. But when you're tying lock style and you have all these capes and dubbins and stuff around, it does tend to clog the old place up a bit. Now, fiery brown, here we go. Fiery brown dabbler, lovely fly. Start off, I'm going to use some Glow-Brite number 7. And I'm going to attach that onto me Kamazan B175 size 10. The Kamazan B175 for me has, you know, it is the bread and butter of lock style hooks. I'm going to take 4 fibres of a dyed orange pheasant tail for the tail. And I'm going to put a nice long tail on that one. Tied in there with the Glow-Brite. And I want a small little hot butt. Just there. Lovely. And then I'm just going to whip finish that off. No, don't trim it off just yet. Extend out your Glow-Brite. Trim it off. Back along. Leave a couple of inches there. That's going to be your rib. Okay. Put away your Glow-Brite and now I switch back to my Kevlar. And I can tie my fly. So I'm going to use that Glow-Brite as a rib. That's Glow-Brite number 7. Trap it all in. And just come slightly down onto that butt. Now we're going to use looking for a bit of fine, or no, actually we're not. What am I thinking? Ribs, sure. I already have the rib in there. Habits. So a bit of fiery brown dubbin. This is a bit of a mix of seals for I do myself. It's part red, part orange, and part brown seals for. And I'm going to try and see if you can see. You can see there's a mixture of colour in that. And it's what kind of scissor, Sean? And that is a sharp edge. We sell them in our shop. I actually have a blast of them arriving in next week. We have 3 different types of sharp edge. And we've lots of different types of scissors down there. We've the copter scissors and all as well. But you'll find them on the website. Give a look in towards the end of next week, and you'll see that one down there. Sean Lynn, it's an absolute cracking scissors. We got some other ones there as well from Sharp Edge. They're brilliant scissors. So in there, I have a little bit of yellow, orange, and brown dubbin. Thanks, Dennis Gould. Little bit of yellow, orange, brown dubbin, and I think I might have put a pinch of red into that too. And that's what I use for the fiery brown, for my fiery brown. And I think a lot of people do mix their own fiery brown dubbin. I think you can also buy your fiery brown. Probably when I mixed that, I actually had no fiery brown, so I decided to just mix something that I do, and I kind of stuck with it after ever since. So again, nice bushy underbody on that one. I want to get those. How you doing, Johnny Wilkinson from British Columbia? Hope you're keeping well, buddy. Johnny Glamorous. Glamorous, what a fly. The Glamorous, we might do you know what, actually I won't, Johnny, but I might actually look up someone that can tie the Gunfors. The Gunfors fly. How many people out there have ever fished the Gunfors? What a fly. Over British Columbia, we fished there a couple last year. You're very welcome, Robbie. Robbie got his prize there. I know the post was a bit slow sending out all the prizes from the Christmas special, but most people seem to get them anyway so far. But the Gunfors, it's an unusual looking fly. Never came across it before I went to British Columbia. Man, it was brilliant out there. And I tell you, Johnny, Dad has fished that on a few stocked fisheries since. And he has got, yes, Robbie Berry, that's seals for. Dad has fished that on a few stocked fisheries since, and he got some really good fish on stocked fisheries with the Comforts. Really good ones. The big orangey kind of one. So I'm just going to take a brown. This is what I use is a saddle here. It's a brown saddle. It's what I'm using for my fiery brown. And I'm just looking to choose the right hackle here for this one. So just bear with me a second now. Normally I would have this chosen, but I was in a little bit of a rush to see him getting up here. So I'm going to throw that to one side for a minute now. Well done, Graham. No problem at all. You're very welcome, guys, and thanks everyone for supporting the Christmas special and watching these shows every week. It's I know you guys all say you do look forward to this all day Saturday and all the week, and I can tell you I surely do too. You know, it's great to have it. Oh, that came off. That happens, guys. No matter how many times you do it, that happens. But yeah, I really enjoy those shows. Enjoy the feedback and the participation from everyone as well. So thanks very much to everyone for supporting us and keeping me invested in keeping the whole thing going. So nice hackle down that body. Take my globe right, and then I'm going to rib it up through. And that orange will be nice and subtle. Good little tip. See what I'm doing there now with globe writing, with the globe right, using my hands to touch it and using it as a rib. If you're doing an awful lot of handwork with globe right, it's would be. Hi, Ken Woodward. Ken Woodward's on there from BC as well. Hope you're keeping well, Ken, yourself and the wife. If you're using globe right an awful lot with your hands, try and have a damp cloth or something nearby you. Jamie Potts, yeah, absolutely, Jamie. Yeah, absolutely, certainly. Jamie Potts wants to know whether I mind donating some flies to the English Youth Fundraiser. I will, of course, Jamie. If you make contact with me, Jamie, send me a message there on Messenger later on, and we'll arrange something. Always good to support the youths. So. Yeah, keep your fingers clean, because the oils and the dirt on your hands, even from touching capes and stuff like that, will dull the globe right, especially when you're using it in a rib like that, But it'll come through once it gets a little damp. That will come through, and I always give it that little brush back to get that nice taper. Very good, Dave. It's brilliant. Yeah, geez, I would have liked to have seen that. Fantastic. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in some bronze mallard there. So I got a bag of bronze mallard here. Nice fresh bag of bronze mallard from Pat Nolan. Here's some cracking bronze mallard, Pat. And I'm going to select a feather there. Now there's something I want to... It's kind of hard to find it in Pat's bags, but if you're tying dabblers, and I get an awful lot of people saying I have awful trouble tying the wings and tying the cloak, and here's actually a little bit of an example, and you're very welcome, Jamie, anytime. You can see if you're tying cloaking with dabblers, with the way that bronze mallard is bent and kind of, you see that kind of a bend in it there from being in the package and being, all crumpled up and stuff like that. It can be really difficult to tie bronze mallard. Now that one's not bad because the main section up near here is quite clean and decent. But just to give an example of, we've all seen them bronze mallards feathers out of the packet and they're crumpled up and stuff like that. Where, if you're tying dabblers, you want your bronze mallard looking like that. You can see it there. I'll hold it up to that camera. Nice and clean, perfectly formed, perfectly married together. That's going to make the whole job an awful lot. Graham Lonigan, absolutely. Pat Nolan, best bronze mallard going. That's a nice clean feather. Going to make an awful lot of tying cloaks and stuff like that, or working with bronze mallard in general, an awful lot easier. So if you're got a lot of crumples like that, a very simple little trick I learned a good while ago. Catch that with the tweezers, go boil the kettle, and hold that in over the steam of the kettle, and that bronze mallard feather right there where that bend and break is, that kind of break in the marry, will come back perfect, absolutely beautiful, smooth. So I'd often do that if I'm going to tie an awful lot of dabblers, and I'm sitting down for a day or two tying dabblers. I'll go in and boil the kettle a few times and steam up some nice bronze mallard, have it nice and clean, ready to go. It's a really good tip to make life very handy for yourself. So when I'm selecting the bronze mallard, the chunk, I'm kind of going 3/4 the way up. I'm going up to, if you can see, where that's the bend is kind of, I don't know if anyone has, this is just me. Hi, Martin McQuaid. Hope you're keeping well. And we were talking about you there a while ago. But you can see where that bend is slightly on that feather, and that's kind of the section I want out. I want about, I know, depending on the size of the fly, I don't like overcloaking my dabblers. So I'm going to take out about 3/4 of an inch at a slight angle, as you can see, and just take that out. Now, I know the original dabbler tide, you would keep it on the stem, and that's fine, and everyone has their own way of doing their cloaking and stuff like that. It's a cloak is what I call it for dabbler. But this is the way I do it. It's the way I've kind of was taught, and the way I've always done it. Yeah, that brush does, it always gives, I brush out every fly. It's fantastic. Not only does it get the hackle taper back lovely and real fish looking, but it gets that little bit of dubbing mixed out through the fly as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place that in 3/4. Okay, so 2/3 are above the hook and 1/3 is below the hook, and I'm placing that in there against those hackles and that hook on my side. The tips are just coming slightly past the bend of the hook, and once I have it in position on that hand, I catch it just with that hand, and I just wrap around. There we go. We can just manipulate a little bit on that side. 2 wraps, 2 or 3 wraps, and then you can give it a little bit of a pull and a twist until you're happy with it. I don't like too much under the fly. You want to show a little bit of that body as well. Pretty happy with that one. And a couple of tight turns back up a lot. She's well secured in there now. Gives me a nice even cloaking the whole way around the fly. Pretty happy with that. But yet not overpowering the fly. Yeah, that's right, Kieran. Kieran said he has tried that before, and yeah, it is. It's a great thing to do, and it makes life a little bit easier. You can do the same for golden pheasant crescent. If you're a salmon fly tie or anything like that, a little bit of a boiled kettle steam on that feather, and it can make all the difference. Get that back perfectly. A couple more turns there, and then just I get a little bit of shove back on that just to clean that eye up a little bit. It's not too bad. There's the cloak. Great question, Joe. How did I get into competition angling? Oh, look, my dad was a competition angler. I can remember as a young lad going down fishing the river, or going down to the weigh-ins on the Avonmore River in Rathdrum in County Wicklow, and Dad coming in with his fishing, and he, you know, he was good. Dad was very good. He was an All-Ireland champion, first Leinster man to win the All-Ireland championships back in '93, and you know, just got the bug then. And team sports weren't my thing. I tried a bit of football, tried a bit of hurling and stuff like that. Thanks, John Rochford. Thanks, Jamie. But you know, it just wasn't my thing. Fishing was my thing. I lived, eat, and breathe it. Just loved competition fishing, and still do. Still have as much of a passion for it today as I had back then. Yeah, love the whole camaraderie. Love the, you know, battle of wits against the wild trout. So what I'm going to do now is select a slightly darker bronze mallard. I'm going to take out about 1/2 inch. I'm just going to fold that in half. 1/2 inch bronze mallard. Fold it in half. But I've got that, and I'm going to place that directly on top. Slightly longer, as you can see, than the body hackle. Same as we did with the hen pheasant on the last fly. Go completely around and pull up. And that traps that perfectly in on top. Exactly the way you placed it in, you see? A little bit longer, and that's that. Hold everything back in place. With a good strong Kevlar now, I can give that head a real good tightening. Make sure everyone's well locked, everyone's tapered back well, and lovely, lovely. Okay, now you can finish off that fly there if you want. Normally I would put a little bit of red thread on that, on the head of that one, but I haven't got the red marker. I'm not going upstairs for it. But I'm going to put a little jungle cock cheek on it. On the day of the All Ireland, there was a jungle cock cheek on that, so I'm going to select 2 little jungle cock cheeks. Try to get them as close as I can in size. And I'm going to put one on either side. You know, as much as I love nymph fishing and even tying nymphs and stuff like that, there's something so lovely about tying a traditional Irish wet fly or a traditional lock style wet fly. Because I know the Scots and the Welsh and English and a lot of other countries too, you know, tie these flies. They are beautiful flies, you know. It's when they're done and you take your time at them and do them right. They're a sight to behold at the end of it. They're absolutely beautiful. Some nice healthy jungle cock cheeks on the side of that one. Because don't forget, this was a fly fished in the wave. Big wave. Cleaned it up a little bit. Start down near the eye and work your way back up to form your head. And I have a brown marker here, so there's going to be a brown head on this one. Cock robin. Ah, yeah, cock robins are fantastic. I do a cock robin dabbler, Dennis. Haven't got stuff here tonight, but I tell you what now. And there's an idea. I was kind of thinking, no, I'd like to kind of announce some kind of an idea what I'm going to do next week to give you something to look forward to. But not that I'm struggling. I've lots of patterns, and I show. God, I could keep this going for this thing for years. Where patterns are in my brain. But you know what? I want you guys to choose what I'm going to tie next week. You know, I want you guys to send me a message or give me some type. And you know what? That's a great fly, Dennis. And that's number 1 on the list for next week. We're going to try river or lake, whatever you guys want to see next week. Really, you know, everyone should be tying now, stocking up the boxes for next season. And Black Pennel is a great fly, Joe. You're absolutely right. Cracking fly. But everyone should be stocking up for the season. If there's anything you want to see, anything you want to see covered, or just have a chat about, send me a message there during the week or whenever, and we'll pull together a plan for next week. So I want you guys to choose what I'm going to be tying. What I'm going to be tying next week. So we'll finish that off. And there we go. What a cracker. That is a beautiful fly. Not just because I tied it. The colour combinations, the bronze mallard, the jungle cock. Now, I would rather with a little dull. The George, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Grey fly mask here, it absolutely is, yeah. Grey fly, any like Corrib is fantastic. You know, it's Greenwell's Glory, Michael Callan, we certainly can. Thanks, Declan. Now, Fiery Brown Dabbler is a great fly. Love that little bit of an orange butt in the back end of it. A little bit of varnish on that there now, and she's ready for whoever's going to win that fly tomorrow. Someone's going to win all these flies tomorrow, guys and girls, don't forget. Going to ask a random question based on something tonight. It probably won't be as hard as Dave's trivia question. Graham Lonigan, I'll ask something a little bit softer tomorrow. But thanks, Eugene. But we'll give them all these flies away tomorrow to somebody. Jungle Bunny, Robbie, yeah, remember that. Thanks, Terry. Thanks, Dave. Good man, Dennis. Dennis going to do Goat's Toe is a great fly. There's a great fly. And Robbie, remember the Goat's Toe. Goat's Toe on Loch Ool has been a fantastic. Thanks, Gavin. Goat's Toe on Loch Ool. What a fly. The Raymond is another great fly. Yeah, he's coming up with some great suggestions. What I'll do is I'll sit down, keep suggesting there, guys. And I'll sit down tonight or during the week and I'll come up with a bit of a plan of what we're going to do next week based on your tell you lemon meringue, yeah. Geez, the wife baked with a load of Baileys here. It surely was, Robbie. It was down in Clarny near our Jungle Bunny that time. The wife baked a big Baileys cheesecake today. Oh my God almighty. I tell you now, it was, and she didn't spare the Baileys, and I like my Baileys cheesecake. But it was a fair bit of grub now, I can tell you. She's a good old baker, fair play to her. But there we go, lads. Fiery Brown Dabbler. And that one was on the middle of that day on Corrib, and fantastic. But you know what? I wouldn't be going to a lake anywhere in Ireland without that in my box, or anywhere in the world probably for that matter, because there's always a couple of dozen of them in the box. Great pattern. Just one of those great fishy patterns. And Kieran Sherlock saying is great. Small and black Tom. Yeah, Tom Ankertel is on there from County Cork. Small and black. Yeah, it's like the small black flies down there on the Clarny Lakes, don't you? Yeah, so good flies too, Tom. Good. Up in Wicklow we used to have small and black too. Dennis Gould and the Booby Eyed Octopus. There's an interesting one. You might tie that for us, Dennis. Maybe someone would like to come on and do an old video for us for next week either. But okay, moving on. We're going to clean away the Fiery Brown, and we're going to move on to our next fly. And just look and see what's next here on the list. And we're going to actually do another dabbler, but this one's got a little bit. This one's got a little bit of a twist. A little bit of a twist to it. So I'm going to keep out the bronze mallard, get rid of that. I'm not sure how many lock style guys. It'll be interesting to hear now how many of you guys have been fishing this kind of dabbler. So we're going to do it on a size 8. This is an early season. This is one now you could have with the Corrib. This is one we could have with the Corrib. Has Dave asked his question yet? No? Thanks, John. I'm going to do this on a size 8. I'm going to put now a second. I'm going to put a white tungsten bead on it. Excuse me. I forgot my tweezers. So I did, yeah. I'm going to put on a white tungsten bead. I'm going to have to get my big clumsy finger and thumb into it. Now, without knocking it over here on live stream, which would be really funny. For you guys, but not for me. I have to pick them all up. Without knocking that bead box over. Some great suggestions coming in there. Absolutely, Christopher Cry. And that's a fly that's you don't hear too much of anymore, Christopher. I've tied that a few times. A teal and green. So, putting on a white tungsten bead, got to force that up over the top. This is size 8B175. Fly tied a couple of years back on a blog post. And just again, mucking around early season, getting ready for a couple of annual trips to Loch Corrib. Couple of annual trips, or not to Loch Corrib, Loch Ool, before the Leinster Championships that will be held up there every April. And tying up a few different things. Tied up this, and God, I had great crack on it. And I know a few other anglers around the country have had great success on it over the years too, over the last while. Dave Donovan, lad, says the question is coming up. Dennis Golan, an 8 folk, he'd be shot. Sure, look at it in practice, Dennis, in practice. You can tie this on a 10 too if you want, but the original one was tied in 8, and it's a little bit easier to tie in an 8, to be quite honest with Dennis, than it is to tie it on a size 10 or a 12. So I said, I'll go with the 8 tonight. Make life a little bit handy on myself. Going to start off with usual, a bit of Kevlar. Love me old Kevlar, as you all know. Well, a nice base of that. This is great. This is, borderline streamer, borderline dabbler. I tell you, that is good. This is good. So I'm going to tie in the tail. Now, normally what I use for the tail is, now, you all know my silver dabbler. The one I have tied it on a live show before previously, I think in the last lockdown, or one of the last lockdowns. I don't know which lockdown it was now. Dennis on a beat. You're breaking into a sweat there, Dennis, thinking about this fly now, are you? The silver dabbler that I tie, and it's a great fly. So the body and a lot of the construction is very similar to that fly, because that fly works so well on Loch Ool and the Midland Lakes. Dave, you can go on, Dave. But I normally would use whatchamacallit for the tail, UV Straggle. UV polar chenille for the tail, but I actually don't have any at the moment. So what I have is a hank of silver mono kind of tinsel there, and I'm going to put a pinch of that in. Take out 1 or 2 bits of it there, a little bit too much because I will be doubling over a second. And I want a little sparkle of UV in that, but I don't want to overpower it. So I'm just taking out a little bit of Winger Flash. If any of you have ever come across that Winger Flash, it's great stuff. And really, really, really fine. And I'm going to tie it, very brittle, but once it's tied in, it seems to hold pretty well. Tie in a little bit in the middle, then take the top and fold it back. And it just gives me a nice subtle little bit of UV into that tail. Okay. Trim it off roughly. We don't want it in square. Right, like that. Dave Donovan's got the question there. Which Irish river has the least amount of letters in its name? What a question. So which Irish river has the least amount of letters in its name? I have a spot prize here for whoever, the first person who gets that right. Good man Dave. And whoever gets it right will win the spot prize. So Dave, you keep an eye on that one because I'm going to keep tying. And Dave will let me know whenever we got a winner. Great question, Dave. We have so many rivers in this country and some amazing names, really. So which? That's a great question. I do know the answer. Come on, Dennis. So we got a bit of Uni-French oval small here. Now, if I was tying this, Dennis, if you were tying this one, Dennis, should I say, you could use a bit of white thread for your head, and you could use a little bit of weight in the body, maybe, or something. A size 10, you won't need the body hackle on if you're doing it on a size 10, though. On a size 8, I'll put in a body hackle. On a size 10, I won't. Or a size 12. You don't need... a lot of guesses coming in for the River Lee. So, what I'm going to put on the body here, I've showed you this before, guys, and I know after the last time I showed you, a lot of people would mention to me, they really struggle to find this stuff. So Alan Kenny's on there. For the lads watching it at home, well done. This is Solderini UV Straggle Fritz Silver. I had a conversation with Hubert the other day about this, and there is a lot of similar stuff on the market, but I can tell you it's not the same. There's something about this that just makes it, you can all see it there now, UVs. You can find it online. I bought 10 packets of it about 2 months ago, so you can find it, okay? It is UV Straggle Fritz Silver by Solderini. Absolutely amazing stuff, and that's what I use on the body of my silver dabbler. That's anyone that's ever wondered that. Has a lovely proportionate hackle coming off the main stem. Nice fine stem, doesn't overpower the fly. A little bit of UV in there, nice fine silver, silver and UV straggle coming off it. Really, really nice stuff. Search online. I just googled it, lads, and just spent a couple of hours scaling through websites till I eventually found someone that had packets. I literally kept clicking plus till they said out of stock, and I bought the 10 packets. So going to wind that up the body, but I know he still does make it. So do check it out for all those guys fishing the Midlands and stuff like that, Midland Locks. And you know what? If I was heading to the Corrib on the opening weekend of the season, lads, I'd be having some of these flies with me. Real fishy fly, you know, real fry pattern. Something to get those fish going. So because we put in the tins, and say I wouldn't normally put a body hackle on this if it was on a size 10 or 12 because it just would overpower too much. But on the size 8, I am going to put a bit of grizzle in there. How are we doing on that? Yeah, pretty much, Dennis. It is. It's going to be the dabbler that I tied for you without the bead, pretty much. Yep. And of course, I don't think I tied a hackle on your ones, Dennis, did I? So I'm not overpowering that with a hackle. You know, when you look at it there now, you're thinking, geez, that's more like a fucking humongous now, isn't it? If it had a marble tail over it, and you would be right. That stuff is lovely on a humongous too, and I tell you, if you're up practicing on Lochaul and you're just looking for a trout, a humongous works well. Not allowed in competitions, but good old practice flight for a bit of crack. Again, get the old brush and give all that a brush back. So I didn't put in a massive hackle there. But how many people out there fish be the dabblers? How many lock style? So Dave Donovan is saying there, we have a winner, Michael O'Callaghan. Michael, I have got a lovely Hannock buff here for you. And I'm going to get that into, well done, the River O in Leinster. And I tell you, if anybody wants to hear about the River O in Leinster, you can take out Peter O'Reilly's Rivers of Ireland. And it says here on page 247, the Derry water rises near Knockanana in West Wicklow and flows south and then north eastwards to join the O River. From there on, it becomes the Ockram River. It's a superb little trout stream. And it flows over the only little bit of limestone in County Wicklow. Holds grudge stocks of brown trout to £1 at Annacurra and is reportedly not heavily fished. It was in our 100 Rivers, challenge that time, but the O River in Annacurra, County Wicklow. I see someone had Ockram, County Wicklow, very close. Donald Rafferty, the white bead is 3.5 mil actually. Counts tungsten bead, and I did it. Did I do it on the 10s for you, Dennis, that time? I must have been in the mood for tying body hackles on 10s, but I know definitely after the All Ireland that was held in Lochaul, who won that one? The year we qualified for Italy. Anthony Trill was third. Brian Kerr qualified through the Avamore. Derek Mulcahy from Castletown Bear won it that year. We're going back about 4 or 5 years now. But they were, I know, Anthony was fishing this dabbler and we stopped putting the hackle on it. So it must have been prior to that. But I've kind of stopped putting that hackle on it. Now I'm going to go into bronze mallard. So well done, Michael Callaghan. I will get that. Nice Hannock buff off to you on Monday. Now, selecting a bronze mallard for this one. I do like a grey mallard, as much as grey as I can for the cloak on it. Okay, because I like to have a real distinctive look. So now I'm going to pull out a whole heap of bronze mallard on the table here and make a fine beatiness. And I'll go through my bronze mallard and try to find something as grey as I can. It's not going to there is a nice one actually. So here we got a nice bit small, but we're going to make it work. Okay, bit of grey. Shane Callan, how you doing, Shane? Shane, what was the size of the trout you caught that time on the Corrup to win the longest or the biggest fish in the All Ireland in 2012? I think it was 2012. Shane over in Corrup when Leinster took the full. I was just wondering earlier on there. So I'm going to take off a little bit of the bronze mallard, straighten up the tips, and again, as we did before, 2/3 above, 1/3 below, and just wrap it around. Now, if it doesn't make it the whole way around that one, no, it's okay. Good long cloak on that one. And it's kind of spun around a bit, so it's going to take me a second or two now just to tidy up some of those feathers. Thanks again, Dave, for asking our trivia quiz. Interesting, all right. A few people on there saying that never heard of it. There's so many rivers out there that we've never heard of that we experienced during the 100 Rivers. It's a couple of turns there, Kevlar, just to tidy that up. Now I'm going to tie in a wing. Now we'll go back to our dark. Nice dark. Shane Callan, 59 centimetres. Fine trout, Shane. Well done. Great day for Leinster anglers. We don't have too many of them, Shane, do we? When Leinster come home with the silver or the gold pins. But that was a nice day. That was a great. So now I'm going to put a dark bronze mallard. Let it go to the length of the tail. So I was asked a question there, and I don't know if anyone answered. Did anybody, Eugene Fagan, yeah, monkey socks, good suggestion. Maybe we could actually, maybe I might get in touch with Mick McShane and see. That's Mick McShane's fly, monkey socks. What a fly. I fished that thing on rivers in Slovenia and Czech Republic and Italy and stuff like that, and it's caught trout for us. But hi, John Higgins, the Green Peter and Jungle Bunny. Yeah, absolutely. We did a Green Peter earlier on, John. Jungle Bunny has been asked several times, so there's a good chance. And we got a couple of good stories about the Jungle Bunny, Robbie, haven't we? Down in Killarney. So Jungle Bunny could be on the list for next week. Shane, Mick McShane ties the monkey socks. What a fly. That's his own pattern, and I don't know if I would do it justice, to be quite honest with you. But I might just maybe make a phone call to Mick and see if he'd be interested in maybe doing this little video at some stage. Maybe he might be able to get it done next week. We can ask him. But I will certainly ask him and see, because I had thought of that before. You know, what a fly. Make a great Irish fly there. And tie some maize and stuff. And we might ask Mick. And that was a real invention, that fly. So I'm going to just take away that. And I'm going to add in a little bit of Tommy fly number 16 here now. There's a little hot collar. Does any of the lake guys out there fish beaded dabblers? That's a question I'm kind of wondering. Maybe I will, Dennis. I've fished it a few times, Dennis. You know, ITFA, great organisation as well. I don't know. It's just I fished a few of the river ones. I've fished a few of the lake ones. It's something I've often meant to do a bit more of. Did we fish the Clode when we did the 100 Rivers? Michael, where is that river? If you can tell me the location, I might have an idea. But back to Dennis's earlier point. You know what, Dennis? I think, and last couple of days I've been kind of sitting around thinking, no, we're hearing all this, that the vaccine is coming now and there's light at the end of the tunnel. I'm kind of thinking, right, what am I going to do, you know, when it's over, when we can get back out? Paul Desmond is a booby dabblers. I haven't fished too many booby dabblers now. But I know I've fished, and I've tied plenty of claret dabblers and black dabblers with different beads and tungsten beads, and they're definitely effective. Little bit of varnish on the tying thread. Whip it in behind. And there you go. Broke away, but that's okay. We can just clean that up. A little bit left on it there. I'll just put a bit of tension back on it. Snip it away. And there you have it. Beaded heavy silver dabbler, size 8. And I can tell you one thing. That thing will move through the water. We'll get down deep if you want. And Robert Flaherty says the lads on Sheelan do good stuff, Robert. Yeah, that's a great fly. That's a fantastic fly. Probably the glare off the lights is not really doing that fly as much justice as it should. but there's an awful lot of sparkle coming over. It's a beautiful fly. The clear distinction between the wing and the cloak there is very important on that silver dabbler. That black stripe up the back, dark bronze up the back, should I say, is a really good, really good fly. So I hope you enjoyed that one, and absolutely, Dennis. Yeah, class for making disturbance. Surely will. Hope you enjoyed that one. You can tie jungle cock cheeks on that there as well if you want. In Portlaw, God, Brendan Doolan, we did some waters, rivers all across there, but did we do the cloud? I'd have to, absolutely, Graham. Yeah, God, we must have done it. I'd have to go back and check. I'd have to go back. We can't remember them all, but we certainly did do a few rivers over there, over that region. So I imagine we did. I'd have to check. But there you go, lads. Tungsten beaded headed size 8 dabbler. One definitely you could bring to the Corbridge early season or some of those lakes. Definitely an ool. I'd have that in ool, and you'd have no problem catching a couple of trout on that one. So hope he's all enjoyed that one. That's going into the box there now for someone tomorrow. Someone's going to get a great selection of flies Monday or Tuesday. So now, yeah, that's the way, Dex Conlon, is that drainage runs into the Brosnan. Had a good one off the Croneen. James Mika, or James Gibson should say, white Mika powderhead. You go do that, all right? Yeah. So what am I going to move on to next? Just give me 1 second now to clean away this whole big mess of bronze mallard that I pulled out. I'll have it done now in a second, guys and girls. And you can pour yourselves a fresh cold one there now. We've got 2 more flies to go. And I'm going to do another great Midland fly. Has been catching a lot of fish for a lot of people over the last couple of years. I've been tying, and you're going to enjoy the next one as well. Hope everyone's having a good Saturday night and enjoying the show. If anybody has any comments, by all means, do shout them across. Or if anybody has anything they want to contribute, there's been some great stuff on there tonight there, from people giving their vast expertise in lock style fishing, probably a lot vaster than mine. But it's great to have so many people on contributing, and really appreciate it. Makes it worthwhile for me doing it too, and gives me a great sense. I get great kick out of these nights, sitting up here and having. My wife is delighted. She's down there. She got the TV to herself. She just delighted as well. So she's really happy, which is all as well. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but sure. Anyway, she's down there having the TV, feet up, probably having an old glass of something herself, and very happy that she's all keeping incentivized to keep this going every Saturday night. So what we're going to do next is just reading through a few comments there. I won't be on streamers tonight, Joe. The flight time room I actually have, Joe, is down the stairs. I must give you a tour sometime. Actually, I must do a little video for you of how this venue works here. Okay, Joe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, absolutely, Joe. We can put that in. And brownie pints, absolutely, Tom. I've been working hard now in the garden for the last couple of weeks, Tom, getting up as many brownie pints as I can come March, if the lockdown allows me to get to the river, and I'll be cashing them in fairly quickly, as I'm sure most of these will, as soon as February come. For some lucky few there'll be February. Absolutely came. There she is. Hey, honey. I give her a night off. So fair play to Dee, lads. She's a great wife. She helps out an awful lot in the shop. Believe it or not, most of you guys that get packages don't get packaged by me. Actually, Deirdre does the packaging an awful lot. She does a lot of computer work as well and stuff like that. So fair play to her. She gets stuck in, and she's learned a lot over the years now. I must admit, she came in green enough into fly fishing, but and she did, she had a fair idea. I think she had a fair idea what she was marrying at the time, but yeah, she really enjoys it. I think she gets a real bit of pleasure out of it, don't you, honey? You love the nights. I think we were around there till about 12:30 or later last night, packaging up orders and stuff like that. So, but I say it's a family business. Lily and Tommy come down and they do a bit of reorganising for us around the shop and stuff as well. So, the shop is right attached to the house. It's great. It's great that we can have this little hobby business / whatever. Obsessive disorder kind of thing that I have with fly fishing that becomes part of the family. But hey, look, fair play to her. She puts up with Oh my crap, and that's a lot of crap. Right, so we're going to do a stimulator. I know Eugene Fagan was on there asking to do a bit of a stimmy. A few other guys contacted me during the week to do a stimulator, and there's one stimmy I've just got to do. I was kind of thinking, I'll do a black one, a clear one. We've all seen them. WD-40, Joe. Going to do a stimulator. Sorry, just lost the train of thought there for a second. I'm looking for a size 10. I'm going to do it on a size 10. Size 10s or 12. Really good in, say, Lockwool, Lean, these places like that as well. I know there's plenty of other guys out there trying this colour combination, similar-ish, but we'll see what you all think of my take on it. This is a white stimulator. I found it really, really productive and very popular. Very popular over the last number of years. Playing off a lot of them. So I'm going to lash it out here for you now, guys. And well, see, lads, it's after coming to me there now. The wife is up there now in the sitting room, and she's the whole place herself, the TV, Netflix, YouTube, the whole lot. And she's sitting watching us time flies. See? It's just, it's, there you go. There you go now. She's sitting there watching us time flies when she could be watching anything else. And this is what she chooses. So maybe, maybe she should be only letting on that she doesn't go too mad about it. So anyway, here I've got a bit of white deer hair. I better stop now before I get myself in an awful lot of trouble. And there could be a blank screen there very quickly. But nice bit of white deer hair. A little bit of white. Natural. This is a natural white. I use a natural white. It's not dyed. Don't ask me where I got it. I haven't a clue. I got it a long time ago. A little bit of white. Lovely fine kind of white deer hair. Absolutely, Dave. Dave Donovan says, I think we have all lucky wives. I know Rita Donovan down there in Shanballymore puts up with a lot. An awful lot from the two of us as well. Not just part of our friendship, Thomas. That's Tom Anker says it's part of our friendship. Now, she's well served her time now, Tom, I can tell you. Yeah. But anyway, we'll get off that conversation, lads, before he's getting me in awful trouble. This lockdown, I have nowhere to go. So, a little bit of white deer hair. Just going to tidy up the mess there before I get that set into place. A couple of turns of the Kevlar. Now, Declan Noonan going around, I think you're right. You're right there, Declan, you're right. She'll be delighted to give her no plug anyway, and, on live on air. So, so all I'm going to do now is just going to add in a little bit to that tail. A little bit of UV. So I got a bit of UV. It's not wing and flash now. It's a little bit stiffer. And I'm going to just take two little bits, and I want just the smallest little bit of UV in that tail. Stimulator is a great fly. Very versatile pattern. I'm not sure many people know how versatile it is, but it can be fished as a dry fly. It can be fished, up on the surface to make a lot of noise pulling. It can be. I know plenty of lads that fishing on a dive 5 sweep up in Lockwool and catch plenty of fish on it. So just a little bit of UV in there. Kind of hard to see the light, so I'm just turning it a bit to make sure it's not all kind of. So you can see what I'm doing there is when I'm kind of pushing it forward, and I'm just getting where that deer hair joins the thread in that little knuckle there that makes it flare out. It just helps it get settled a little bit, and you'll see it better on the wing when we do it. Now it's a good trick for moose and stuff like that. But it can also work a bit in deer hair, and you can see it just settles it down a bit. It just stops it from flaring it too much. So what I'm going to do now is I need a rib, and I'm going to use fine silver tinsel, oval tinsel. This is, and I'm going to put in a little rib. When it comes to deer hair, an awful lot of people say they struggle with deer hair, mounting it, keeping it under control. It's so bloody messy. I know we've talked about it before, but the quality of the deer hair, there's so much different. There's so much different types of deer out there, deer belly, and then the quality of who's tanned it, where it came from, who died, whatever, can make an awful lot of difference. So an awful lot of problem people have with deer, I think, is that, you need to shop around, Deer hair is something I'll very rarely buy online. I know I do have a fairly big stash of it. I'd never, if I go into a fly shop or go into Patton Hole and something like that, I'll go around the deer hair, take it out of a packet, have a good look at it. If it's nice, I don't leave it behind. I take it all as much as I can. And it's, it's something, yeah. So I have little bits of deer hair for little different things and different flies. This one is this particular patch of deer hair. It's getting small now, but this is for this white dabble, or this white one. And it's what I use for. So now I'm going to put in a little bit of where is that thing gone? Here it is here. So we're going to add a little bit of Spectra dubbing on this, okay? And of course I didn't bring my tweezers, I was looking for tweezers, but I can just use my dubbing needle here to tease out a bit of this. A little bit of Spectra. This is just Sawaya Spectra here. I have shoved into one of our little dubbing boxes. And I'm going to put on a nice dab of that. Now, I'll probably put on too much, so I'm going to take some of that off in a second. One thing about stimmies, you don't want to tie too far up that hook. You need to leave a good third or in or roundabouts. No worry, Dennis. Great to have you on there, and thanks for your contribution. Dennis has to go back to work. Oh, geez, Gianluca, absolutely, yeah, Gianluca. That's good. Thanks, Declan, for that. Declan Collins on there and says, try it on a slow sink tip. Ginky pull it in and stop back to surface. Fantastic. Good man, Dex. Thanks a million for that, Declan Collins there. Giving some great information, guys. Yes, Luca, those cowboys, I've had a good few of them since I first one had one in your house that time, but great steaks, cowboy steaks, lads. Oh my God. A few crispy onions on top, a few fried eggs, big knob of garlic butter. Oh my God. Yeah. There's nothing no need to do afterwards, only sit on the couch and just concentrate and breathe. You'll struggle. So I'm going to use a little bit of white saddle here. And tie on a white saddle. So, like we've all seen plenty of clarets and stuff like that over the while. And that's why I said, I'll go with something that maybe mightn't be overly popular and go with white. But trust me, it works. Take a rib. Give it a good strong rib up. And then tie it off. Yeah, Dylan, you're absolutely right. They're an excellent river dry. And I was actually going to just get into a bit of a thing about using these on a river. I remember out in Poland one year, and I was on the San River, and there was a big colour coming down it, and I remember taking out a stimmy and dry dropper in a stimmy, and I was getting more fish on the stimulator than I was on the nymph. I think it was a black stimmy or an olive stimmy at the time. Hold them back a little bit. Get your thread right back in there. Get them back into place. A little bit of a brush back. Helps keep that deer hair down. Now you can do a little bit of trimming here if you want. Okay? You can trim a little bit of that top deer hair or that top hackle off. Absolutely, Graham. Geez, we need one of those cowboys, especially one of the big ones. A couple of fried eggs, a few crispy onions, a couple of glasses of wine, maybe a side portion of chips, and God, yeah, I love me grub, but yeah, concentrating breathing is about the only thing you're going to be able to do after it. So, you can trim a little bit that off, get a brush back on it. It helps that top deer hair to sit down a bit and stop it from over flaring. So again, select it off here. And the best thing about this patch of deer hair I have for doing the like stimmies, now I have this in several other colours, is I don't have to stack it. As you can see, as soon as I pick it off, Dave's on there whimpering for Wimpy. We've had a few pizzas over there, Dave. But do you remember the chicken platters in Slovenia? Was it Slovenia? Robbie, Dave, Tom O'Connor, are you on there? Those chicken platters that the chef reckoned we couldn't eat on our own. I think it was a chicken platter for 4, and we all got one each. They told us they'd buy us free drink if we ate it all. We didn't. We even licked the bones for them for the free drink. But you don't even have to stack it. So it's worthwhile. When you're choosing your deer hair to really choose it wisely, pick it well. And if you see something nice that for a particular reason, that looked lovely on a stimmy or a comparadon or something, buy whatever you can buy of it. So going to lay that in over top, and I want to come just slightly past the bend of the hook. Trap it down. 2 or 3 loose turns. When you're tying this with Kevlar, Okay, 2 or 3 loose turns, not putting a lot of pressure on there. You can see it starting to flare. But every turn I put, then I go a little bit of extra pressure till I get it locked in. If you tie it around with that Kevlar, or even sometimes with normal thread, because of the angle that you're putting that in it, that can cut that straight down and force it to flare up mad, or even just force it all to fall off the hook. So a couple of turns loosely, and then start putting a bit of tension on it as you put an extra couple of turns on it. Trim it off, tidy up, and as you can see, I'm still holding onto my deer here. And if I want to move the vise, I'll do that. Okay, because if that wing springs up, and then it becomes an awful lot more complicated to cut out that little bit of waste deer hair there. And you can see how that's sitting in nice for me now already. Because those couple of loose turns, and then over the next couple of turns, I got it in position. And that doesn't take much manipulating. Sitting up quite nice. Not too high. I know the glare is quite bad, and you can see it a little bit better now. Sitting on the body, quite nice. Don't have to do too much work with that. If I have to do a bit of work with it, again, catch it back along, push, fold back, push, fold back, get it down. You're kind of making that joint of where that thread is, you're kind of making it soft and a little bit more flexible and stop it from flaring a little bit. So you can give it a couple of pushes like that, manipulate it down, and that'll help. It'll help sit it down. No, unfortunately, Gianluca, I don't have not Martin Fennessy. It's just the pattern. It's the pattern. It's one that has been proven and has worked well in Ool and Lean over the last couple of seasons, and it's a fantastic stimmy. Now, what I'm going to add in now though is I'm going to take a little bit of pearl flash, crystal flash, and a little bit of flat red, and I'm going to just put a little pinch of this into the wing. I'm going to start adding a little bit of colour here. And I'm sure, up in the likes of Ool and stuff like that, they're taken as a fry pan. I would imagine so. Or a kind of an aggressive kind of tractor pattern. But it's a fly that has worked well. And a pattern I wanted to share, which is, I would say there's I've heard of plenty of other guys tying white stimmies. And I know they work well. So a little mix there of red and white. And we're going to tie it in there as a top kind of wing. Don't be too fussy about it. Just spread it out a bit across the top of that wing before we move on. And then just randomly snip them back to size. Don't cut them all dead straight. A little bit more natural. Now we're going to take a grizzle saddle feather. Nice and fine, not too big. When I'm doing the heads of my stimmies, I don't like them too big. And I'm going to tie that in there. Graham, yeah. Nature Spirit, you're right, Dave, too. Yeah, and I've got some Nature Spirit marabou down the shop there and stuff, but Nature Spirit is absolutely fantastic. And I tell you, Dave, I actually have a contact for that. If anybody is looking for Nature Spirit, well, then I can certainly get it into shop. I can get it in. If you want some, I can actually get that in because I have some of their marabous and stuff. I came across them at the World Championships in Italy. And yeah, you're dead right, Dave. Nature Spirit. Some of their colours are fantastic. I know the damsel olive they're doing the marabou. Okay, there's nothing else like it. Anyone else out there's tying damsel olive? If you get the Nature Spirit damsel olive, it's like a colour nothing else I've ever seen. Fantastic. They're the pink. Alessandro, if you're still on there, remember those colours we got in Italy in that shop. Really good. So I got going to put in a little bit of that red gleamy dubbing for this one is again a little bit more sparkly than the whatchamacallit we had there, your seals for. And then we're going to take our grizzle hackle down over and get our nice stimmy head in it. And clean away. Just holding everything back. Get in there, bit of pressure on that. And now a couple of those reds moved a little bit on me, so they're a little bit kind of choked up at the top. So what I will do is I will just select one or two of them, slide the scissors down along, and actually remove them. Now they're all together. It's just too many, two that kind of got, don't look great there now at the moment, so I'm going to just get rid of those off the top. And there you go, a little bit of a whip finish on that, and she's ready to swim. Great fly for wool. I know definitely Loughlin has suffered a few trouble, suffered their fate up there too on this white stimmy. And I say, you know, you can try stimmies in a multitude of colours and they're all really super effective. But that's just one pattern that yeah, Kieran, it's good. I tell you, there's not a lot. It's you know, when it comes to grizzle, because of a river and I tell you an awful lot of clinks, you can see she's fairly well bare down the middle. But grizzle hackles is something, again, like deer hair. If I see a nice grizzle, I don't even look at the price tag. I just pick up and buy it. Quality grizzle is just for a flight hair. Is an absolute must, especially when you're doing like the clinks and stuff like that and stimmies. You know, the barb count on it is very high, very uniform coming the whole way down through the very long feather. You can see the length, like that's probably tried a couple of flies already and there's still a good few flies left on it. So when it comes to grizzle, it's an investment, as I say, buying good grizzle, because it's something that you will use and it helps an awful lot. So there you go. There's my white stimmy. Very simple. You know, it's glory there at the end, but really, really worth a go. Great pattern. We can, Alexander, a couple of Invictus. Well, we might do one next week anyway. That's right, Eugene Fagan. Tony Walsh does well on him. I don't know, because I tie him for Tony. If you're there, sorry, Tony, you watching? Tony Walsh does well on him in the Midlands. He sure does. I do have to tie him for him. Well, at least I used time. I tied him a lot over the years, Tony. Yeah, but that's it. Great fly, lads. Really good. Another one into that little tub of flies there for some lucky winner tomorrow. Some lucky winner tomorrow is going to win all those flies that we tied tonight. One or two from practice earlier on. Going to ask a very simple question tomorrow at some stage. And whoever gets the first person in to get the right answer will win that prize. Something based on tonight. So whoever's watching tonight, watch out our Pescari Fly Facebook page tomorrow, mid-morning probably. And on the top dropper, Donald Rafferty wondered what way would you fish the white stimmy. On the top dropper is normally where I fish, Donald. And it depends on the line. As Declan Collin was on saying, you know, gink it up on a midge tip and stuff like that could be very effective. I fished on a 5 sweep at times and got fish on it. So any stimmy depends on what colour you're using. So you know, it depends on what way the fish want it and where you're fishing and stuff like that. So thanks, Declan. So we got one more for you. So I'm going to do 5 tonight. Got one more, and Jason Foran. I wrote down Jason Foran. You were on to me there during the week, and you were looking for something like a shuttlecock dry buzzer kind of a style thing. For lakes. So I said I'll do something that I've done before. Not overly educated, and not afraid to admit it, overly educated on really, really top-class shuttlecock patterns. But I have one that's caught, that I've been asked for a few times. And I've got a few fish on myself, and I'll do that one for you now, Jason, if you're on there. Very simple little toy. Nothing too complicated, but there's one little... you're very welcome. Colin Hackett was our winner last week, folks. Colin won the prize last week, and... One the spiders and the wet flies. I hope to get you a few fish, Colin. And come on, Donald. Yeah, absolutely, Eugene. Yeah, pinching that deer hair, manipulate it forward, get that little crease of where the thread meets deer hair against the hook or the body, or whatever. That'll make it much softer, much more applicable, and definitely will help an awful lot in in being able to, you know, work your deer hair. It just kind of softens up where it all meets and joins. So I'm going to put a little bit of Kevlar thread on this. I think I'm alright, yeah. Okay, so this is a shuttlecock kind of a lock style. So I'm doing it on a size 12. You're very welcome, Lauren. I'm going to do it on a size 12. Oops, the camera moved there a bit. Sorry, lads. Going to do it on a size 12. Come on, Brennan. You know, bother to you. So I'm going to do this on a size 12 B100 Camazon. And going to do a little... microglynn tail, single strand of microglynn tail. So basically the shuttlecock represents a hatch and fly, a merger. Tied it in well. Don't want to I want to keep the body, yeah, I fixed that there, Joe. Want to keep the body as slim as possible because we want that body. The one thing about tying, I find anyway personally, when I'm tying emergers or shuttlecocks or, oh Jesus, Joe, that's a great question. Wouldn't have a clue. I couldn't remember back that far, Joe. Joe wants to know what was the very first fly you tied. I wouldn't have a clue. But when I tie shuttlecocks, emergers, stuff like that, you know, I find keeping that body as slim as possible is very important because you need that to sit down into the film. And if there's too much bulk or beef about it, that's not going to happen. And when you're looking at an emerger, or as Jason Foran was kind of explaining, a dry buzzer kind of stuff, you know, it's very important that you get that to sit up, even though it's tying on a curve hook, to sit exactly the way you want it, not to lie on the side or lie on the flat. And I'll explain that as we go through. What I'm adding in there now is a little bit of fluorescent yellow. Stripped peacock quill. And I'm coming down just that body a little bit with it. And then coming back up the hook. Make sure you got a nice flat body there. So it's like, you know, curved buzzer for all it's worth at the moment. Getting it as slim as possible, trying not to overbulk it because of the way I wanted it to sit. So basically all we're doing right now is tying a representation of a shuck. Take that fluorescent quill and bring it up your body. I know I can spin the voice and stuff to make it a little bit faster, but years of habit. Years and years of habit. If your quill starts to get a bit short, finger on top, you can let go, hand in underneath, catch it again, bring around another turn, finger on top, hand in underneath, and you can finish off the last few turns, get you up far enough by just doing that. One turn gently, you don't want to break that fine tip, and then give it a good tie off. Okay, lovely. Yeah, geez, I don't know. First fly I tied, I can remember the position it was in. It was in a man's house down. I probably told you this story before. My man's house down in Tipperary, and him and my dad and a good few Wicklow anglers that were down fishing Tipperary for a while. I'm going to put some resin. I'm going to put a little coat on the resin on this now. Coat of resin, or if you want to stick to your Sally Hansen, you surely can. If you want to put 2 coats of Sally on it, by all means do. For speed wise for tonight, I'm just going to put a coat of resin on it. I know some guys tying lock style they're not too fond of the UV resin because they think it gives a bit of a blue shimmer off it, and they'll prefer to use the Sally Hansens and stuff like that. So going to just use a little bit of a artist brush here now but anyway, so Dad and them were downstairs having a few bottles in the fly fish. John O'Connor from Ardfin in the County Tipperary, and I was the young lad. Sure, I was only a young lad anyway. I don't know what age I was, maybe 12, even younger. And they were all having the crack down the stairs. And John said, Peter, would you like to go up to the fly tying room? And sure, of course, absolutely. I was mad about fly fishing. Had never seen any fly tying being done before. Had an old video in the house that I must have watched 10 million times of 2 lads that done a bit of trout fishing and salmon fishing. And on that, they had a little snippet of tying a salmon fly or something like that on it anyway. So up into the fly tying room, and I spent the entire evening up there making a big mess. But John actually came up afterwards, and when it was time to go back to the B&B, and he said, "Did you ever see anyone tying a fly before?" I said, "No, I've seen a snippet on a video one time." And he kind of thought, "Geez, you might have a, potential, young lad. And would you like to start tying?" I said, "Oh, geez, I'd love to start tying my own flies, but sure, who would teach me?" Back then there wasn't too many fly tyers, so lo and behold, a week later, I think it was 2 weeks later, John O'Connor drove to Rory's in Dublin, bought what gear I need, drove to Wicklow, and spent the weekend in our house, and taught me how to tie flies, taught me the basics. Then I went to Noel Shields and spent 2 years with Noel Shields. So what was that first fly I tied that night? was just a big mess job, probably a big mess. Yeah, but that's how it all started for me, anyway. Okay, next thing we're going to do is add in a little bit of natural CDC. So I just need to find that right feather I'm looking for. Two natural CDCs for this one, okay? Two larger feathers. Now, getting the proportions for this one right is yeah, Kevin's on there. He was. That's how I started, Kevin. Good old John that time. So getting the proportions right. If we tie it too long, when we fold it back over, our head is going to be too big. You know, it is. And I'm actually, do you know what? For this, because these are kind of lightish enough, I'm going to throw in a third. It is a size 12, so I'm going to look for kind of a not too beefy one. But I want to put in another little bit of. So whatever size you want coming off the head, catch it there. So if I want that distance coming off the head, well then tie it back in there and give it a couple of mil. Give it 2 mil. That's all I would do. Don't, if you're trying to, oh God, I want it, and next thing you tie it too long, fold it over, it becomes too long and you're not happy with it. I normally say, pinch it between your fingers, roughly where do I want that to end? Take that section in your other hand, and I've got that marked now on my other finger and thumb, and then I'll move it back a couple of mil, and that's where I'm going to tie it in order for it to be exactly where the distance I want to be finished. Okay? Now, I'm sure there's plenty of other people that have perfectly good and much more logical ways of getting that proportion right, but that's the way I do it anyway. Cut that at a slight angle. And now, for this one as well, I'm going to look for some olive partridge. I'm looking for one of the larger dyed grey feathers here. Good markings on it. And I'm just going to take just a couple of it. I don't want much of this to be really overpowering on that fly, but I want a couple in there. And I'm just going to tie them in there like that. Just on top of the CDC. They'll just vaguely come through that CDC when we're finishing. That's fine. We don't want a whole lot. So what I'm going to do now is I take some, it's kind of a dark grey, it's a dark grey mix between black rabbit, hare's ear, and fox squirrel for a thorax here. And this thorax is going to be quite important for the way we want this fly to sit in the water. So you're going to see what I do here in a second. Okay, we're going to make a little dubbing brush. So I got to do a little bit of work on the table here for a moment. So basically, I'm just going to take it and tease it out, get it nice and flat, and I'm going to stack it, as you can see, stack it on top of each other. So I'm just pulling it, stacking it, pulling it, stacking on top. So I've got a little tough here in my hands. It's kind of hard to make out there, but it is kind of, I'm kind of getting it all kind of the right length by just stacking and pulling, and get it all for as uniform as I can, trimming it down, and that's what I'm kind of left with there now. It's just that little bit of a disc of dubbing. Take out my dubbing needle, and what time are we? Oh, we're going. We're good out tonight. We're heading on a bit to 10:05. Sure, why not? Why not? As long as if we have to be up anywhere tomorrow or go to mass or. Going to take in that dubbing brush, give it a bit of a spin. That's right. He was Tom Ankertelli was at the Interpro in '91 in Avondale House. That was a great. Well, I wasn't at that Interpro. I was a bit too young then, but I remember lads still talking about it. And that was actually the one Dad won. I think Dad won the Interpro in '91. I think Tom, wasn't it? The second Interpro we had up there was in '93. Which was that party. Do you remember that party, Tom, in Barry's Dance Hall? That was one party. Who won it that year? Tipperary Man won it that year, I think, Tom, was it? So giving that a good spin, getting that nice hackle. And I'm going to put a nice chunk of that on there. Stroking back the fibres as I go up along. get up near the head. Make a little bit of room. And now I'm going to catch my CDC and everything, and I'm going to pull that right over the top. Don't be afraid if you catch some of the hairs of the ear and all that stuff up there as well. That is no harm at all. Okay. Couple of turns over the top. Lift your little wing case shuck and pull it out over. Now you can see an odd little bit of sparkle in there. You can see the little legs. Now you can see where those legs have come out. Okay, and that's very important, you know, that they're coming up underneath. And I'll show you why now in a second, that when this fly is fishing, what we wanted to do and what we wanted to represent. So we'll finish that in there. And it's a very natural kind of top half to that fly. So we got a very skinny butt there that's going to get right down in the Alexander Son. Tell you, Richie Rowe won that. Good man, Dave. Richie Rowe won that in Rathdrum that year. That's right. A white-hackled bibio. No, Alexander, I can't say I've ever even tied a white-hackled bibio, but I often tie a white muddlerhead bibio. For my dad up for the Wicklow Anglers is a cracking fly up there. And Dad always, every time he calls down, he wouldn't tie me up a half a dozen of those white-headed bibios. Now I'm going to trim off anything that might be sticking out the back. Any short fibres. I don't want that body to be interrupted in sitting down into the water in any way whatsoever. Okay. We don't want to sit into the side or anything like that. We want that shuck to get down into the water. And between the CDC and the CDC and a bit of dubbing in underneath, it will sit up beautifully. So you can imagine if we're a trout looking up now, that's what we're going to see. And we're going to see those couple of legs of the olive starting to make its way out of the shuck. And I think that is what really can act as a real attractor. It's just that moment when that fly is breaking out of the shuck. And it's those olive legs that are coming out, those speckled legs. And that is what they see underneath. They don't see that. That's what we look at on the top. What they see is what goes underneath. So when you're tying shuttlecocks and something like that, you know, always look from the trout's point of view. And it's what happens underneath. And that's why we tie the partridge on last and fold it over, is because we want that sticking up underneath at the end. And that's a very simple little, Jason, I hope you're watching. If not, it will be on YouTube tomorrow, folks, whenever Deirdre gets around to putting it up on YouTube. I have a lot of flies to say tomorrow, so that'll be up on, this video will be up on YouTube tomorrow. You can see we just have the little bit of I forgot my tweezers now. It'd be handy kind of show you these flies. It's always good to take them out of ice and show you the full picture of the fly. A little bit of microglint there in the butt, just to act as a tail and shuck kind of. And really good pattern. Works well on still waters, and I'm sure a smaller version you'd catch it on yeah, Michael, I was going just about to say catch it on the river, absolutely, in smaller patterns. So anyway, look at folks, that's me for another Saturday night. God, another week. We have to wait another 7 days to do another one. Can't wait. As I said, next week we are leaving it up to you guys. So anybody during the week that contacts me, what I do is I look through them, pick out the most popular requests. I think the Jungle Bunny is up there definitely, Robbie. And we'll do a couple of nice flies next week, bit of a mix. Then kind of getting in, pushing near February, we're going to really start working on filling those boxes for the new season. If these are all should be starting to fill them now, getting them ready. Everyone should be getting super excited that the season is on its way. Lockdown or not, hopefully we'll get to the river, you know, it'll give us some kind of peace and a little bit of headspace. So I hope you all really enjoyed tonight. Look, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for contributing. Don't forget, if you're looking for any fly tying fly fishing gear, give us a shout here at Pescari Fly. If you have any questions or you need any advice on it, pick up the phone and give us a ring. We're always here to have a chat. So please don't be shy, don't be stuck. We're more than willing to give anyone advice and help out. And see you all next Saturday night. Thanks everyone as usual for your continued support. We really, really appreciate it. And look, have a great weekend, everyone. Stay safe and enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. I'm going out to a night away from now for a little while. So be good, everyone. Good night.